All right, hi. Dr. Chris Willis again, here looking at the syllabus, wanting to kind of walk through the syllabus step by step so that you can get some understandings of some of the things that are required for this class. So you see here I have on the screen the Word document of the syllabus. It's also posted in Canvas. And we're just going to walk through bit by bit the syllabus, and hopefully at the end of that you'll have a clear understanding. If you have questions or concerns, you can always contact me via Canvas inbox. So without further ado, you can see here is the information, my personal information as far as my contact. I am planning to be on campus most days, but I'm always online. Even if I am not on campus, I can be available email or phone. So that's that information. Email is probably best because I don't always pay attention to my desk phone, and I won't always be at my desk. So email is great, or Canvas mail. It comes to my email and I know right away. Name of the course. This is the course description. Here's a really important thing here. You need to start working on getting your hands on this text, and I am still using the 3rd edition of this book. I just looked on Amazon. It's available. It's pretty cheap. There is a 4th edition of the book. I don't have it yet. I'm going to get a copy of it and start reviewing it, possibly to use next year, but the price is 3, 4, 5 times more, and at this point I don't think it's necessary for us to make that switch. So I'm gonna review materials, and we're gonna go from there, and maybe go into a totally different text in the future. So if you can get your hands on the Yale, the Law and Special Education 3rd edition, I know the BGSU bookstore is working to try to locate some used copies. They could not get any, obviously, new copies from the publisher. They're looking to get their hands on some used copies, and like I said, Amazon, I know it is there. Look for the 3rd edition. This is this is actually a file that's posted inside Canvas, and then we have additional readings from inside Canvas. If we scroll to the second page, you can see you need to be checking your Canvas accounts on a regular basis. Obviously, it's a fully online course. Things will be loaded out there, and so forth. These are the outcomes that I hope that you are able to learn during this class. And course delivery. It is a fully online class. I have, as you saw in the introductory video of the Canvas shell, I have designed it as though it were a face-to-face class with 12 class meetings, 12 sessions. My goal is to give you a week's worth of session at a time. You saw the shell is actually all there, but to get all the new videos and new discussion boards out there on a weekly basis is my goal, and maybe even a little bit farther ahead. And our goal should also be that you complete a week's worth of sessions within that week. Nothing's really more annoying or creates a more disjoint experience for all of us if at session in week 5 you are making comments on a discussion board from week 2. So you need to be getting your discussions out there quickly. Here's some computer skills and required resources, computer resources that you need to get your hands on. I want to talk a little bit about my attendance as an online course and my expectations. You need to be engaging with this course, and I have a block of points that you're going to see here in just a second for attendance and participation. I do not require that you post a comment for every prompt and reply to 2. And I think that's really artificial and creates a really stilted kind of learning experience. We use VoiceThread for discussion boards to try to be in a conversation. So it's important that when you are engaged with class, that you're really providing important insights and moving the discussion forward, not just, oh, I agree with Sally, right? That's annoying. It's a waste, and I don't want you to do it. But you need to be actively engaged, and quite honestly, the discussion boards is the only real way for me to measure your engagement. So you need to be doing that. Please note here, right? Quality discussion posts add value to the learning experience by adding personal insights, expanding on others' ideas, sharing personal and professional experiences, asking questions to explore a topic further, and demonstrate critical thinking. Your interactions are important not only in response to me, but response to each other. Get into a conversation. Think of it as that VoiceThread space as your virtual classroom space, where you can say, hey, I really was intrigued by that, or as I was listening to this, Dr. Willis, I have this question. I watch all the comments, I reply back. That all happens, right? So communication with me, my preferred method is through Canvas itself. I get it just, if it gets into my inbox, it may get lost or cluttered. If I see that I have a Canvas notification, I'll go log in and I'll reply. If I forget about it, if it gets lost there, when I log back into Canvas, I get a reminder there. So it's the best way to use the Canvas inbox to communicate with me. Obviously, we need to be respectful of each other. And if there's any concerns, I'll have a conversation with you privately about that. So let's get into the kind of the nuts and bolts, the things that are most important for you in the course. Is what do you have to do over the course of the next 6 weeks to get an A in the class, right? So we've already talked a little bit about attendance. It is 20 points of your grade. I will. I think I say it up in this part of the syllabus. You will have it if I feel as though it's on me to make sure. Right here, it says right here. It's on me to let you know if your participation levels are not strong enough to get full credit for your participation, for your participation in attendance. So, I'm just going to keep a class roster and kind of a tally sheet as far as how many times you're showing up. And if you're really dropping off, I'm going to send you a note through Canvas and say, hey, you've not been very active on the discussion boards. You're at risk of losing some points. I'll try to do that early enough so that you can get back in there and get active. As I said, though, I don't want your activity shouldn't be going backwards. It should be stepping up your activity from that point forward so that I can see that you are responding and demonstrating in your participation. I don't want you to go back in week 5 to the week 1 discussion board because you didn't post anything there. I want you to participate in the week 5, and I want you to participate actively in week 5. So those are things that I want to have happen with that. So if you get a note from me, that's what that's about, and we can discuss further if there's any other issues. I'm asking you to do 2 structured abstracts. I showed some of those resources on the introduction video. Essentially, here are the kind of, you need to read that article with the structure, but there's an important piece on this, right? So you're going to upload your structured abstract and the article that you're using, but there are two parts to this. We're going to talk about that in the structure and when I get down here a little bit to the rubric. There's 2 parts. There's the abstract itself, and then it's followed by a critique or review of the article. So you need to make sure you're paying attention to both pieces of that. The article here only talks about the abstract part, the structured abstract part. I'm adding that you need to add a paragraph or 2 of your critique or review of the article. Number 3, I'm asking you to connect with a practicing school administrator and to conduct an interview with them. You need to design a question protocol that you want to ask them. around issues of special education and implementation of special education inside their school. And then you need to I'm trying to find it right here. You got a 2-page double-spaced summary and reflection of the interview. So, page and a half of what you talked about and what kinds of responses they gave you, and then a bit of a reflection, half a page to a page of reflection in terms of what you feel like you gained or learned from that experience. There is a research paper. There's you can see the requirements of the research paper here. There's a rubric, which we'll look at here in just a second. That's due at the end of the course. Here in the first couple of weeks, you're going to identify a topic. It's going to be a topic on an area of special education that is of interest to you. So perhaps your school's getting ready to implement some things around co-teaching, so that's of interest and importance to you, so you want to do your paper on that. Perhaps you're starting to ramp up response intervention processes, so that's an area that you're going to focus in on, and that's fine. Those are the kinds of things that you're doing. Okay, and then the last thing is you do have a presentation to give, and I'm actually creating a third video. We talked about it in the introductory video that there's a third opening video about how to conduct your presentation and what that looks like and how you find out when you're supposed to give your presentation. I've given a help sheet for Screencast-O-Matic, again, a free software package to help create your presentation. It works in this format, right, where you can have something on your screen and also do some video or voice capture, so that it's like you're standing in front of class and we're all able to watch, right? So that's Screencast does that for you. There's other video capturing software. Like I said, I'm using Camtasia as a product from BGSU. Some of you Mac users, again, you have iMovie. Others may have other video capture softwares that your schools or you personally use. So any of those are fine as long as we can get the video, right? So here's the breakdown of the points. And here's the way the grades play out as far as number of points that you need for each grade area. Here are the rubrics. So there's 6 points for the structured abstract, and these are in Canvas. These rubrics are in Canvas, and I think you can see them in terms of the way they break down. So you'll see the structured abstract component counts for 6. It's broken into 3 parts. The structured abstract point areas are broken into 3 areas, and then there's 4 points for your critique or implications for practice. So you need to make sure you're doing both parts. And then here's the breakdown of the rubric for the final paper, 40 points. I'm sorry. You can see all the sub breakdowns of those and how that works and looks and plays out. And that's also available in Canvas. If you're having problems with APA 6th edition, the online writing lab at Purdue, I'm an IU grad, so that's hard for me to say, but at Purdue is a pretty good source, especially for this paper and this course. This paper is not a dissertation, and so it doesn't need to meet all those other standards. Then below that, after that rubric, are all the BGSU policies and positions that you need to be aware of and available, and you can read through those. I don't need to read through those read those to you. And then at the end is really the same things that you have in the modules. I've just written it in paper form in case you decide you want to print this out and have it on paper or someplace else. The breakdown of the assignments, so of the topics. So that's the syllabus. Again, if you have questions, feel free to inbox me. Please get your hands on your book as soon as possible. Not knowing how different the 4th edition is, it's unclear to me. If you can only get your hands on that one, what that's going to look like. Hopefully you can find some copies of the third edition. Like I said, Amazon has them. You can get them shipped quickly. All right.